Good evening, everyone, and a good morning, and good afternoon, and good evening to everyone across the world. Um, I would like to welcome you all today to our next uh, Knowledge Happy Hour series. Just a new, fresh face on this compared to what you've been regularly seeing. So, my name is Ashwin Devan, and I am the co founder and managing partner of Indian School of Image Management. Today, I have a special guest again today for you, and a very special session. I'd like to all of you for you to welcome Miss Rooja Desai. Hi, Rooja. I think you are not unmuted. All right.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, Rooja. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good as well.
All right. So to get things started, I want to introduce Rooja to everyone. So Rooja is the CEO and founder of uh, Caterpillar Image Consulting. She is a image consultant. She is a certified trainer by T. Harvey Eker. Interestingly enough, that is not the only qualification she comes with. She comes with a whole bunch of qualifications beyond image consulting. She has been a certified or a certified accountant, or is that a CA? How you would call it?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay,
CA finalist.
so she has an extensive experience in finance and accounting and taxation. Um, Again, another version of what Rooja we see is she is a content writer as well as a copywriter expert. She is also the assistant editor for the AICI Global magazine. So she's had a lot of experience from a lot of diverse fields. And today she's going to be sharing with us her secrets, her tips to create successful content and copy. So it's going to be a little bit change and a shift in gear from the kind of content we've been sharing for the last 3 days. So I think I'm quite looking forward to this session. So Rooja, now up to you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so let me just share the screen. All right, hello everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I hope everyone is safe, and I hope you are all learning something new every day. Okay. I also hope that all of you are in good mental health. From all the things that we have seen in the last few sessions, in the last 3 sessions, everything has been very informative. Everything has been very helpful for all of us in some way or another, right? So today's session, like Ashwin mentioned, is going to be very different from what we have seen so far. Today's session is going to be about copywriting. What I want you to do at this point of time is grab a pen and a paper, because there's going to be a lot of information here and you're going to need to write down a lot of stuff. I'm going to give you 1 second, a few seconds till you do that. Till then, I'm going to tell you where I got inspired to create this presentation and to present it in front of you all. So I did a training called Gorilla Business Intensive, which is designed by a person called T. Harv Eker. So T. Harv Eker is a person who is an author, he's a businessman, and he's a motivational speaker known for his theories on wealth and motivation. I went to his seminar, I learned this way of writing a copy, and now I'm just sharing it with everyone so everyone can use it. Okay? So I hope you have your pens and your papers with you right now, because I can't see any of you. So moving on. We shall start with a quote, because I really like this quote, and I have also experienced this the thing that the writer is trying to explain here at some point of time. So let's see. People want to be educated, not sold. They will sell themselves if you just commit to educating. So what this means is that people don't want you to tell them to buy something. They don't want you to tell them to buy your services. They want you to tell them what your services are about. They want you to tell them why you can create a difference in their life. Why, in what way are you solving a problem for them? Or in that matter, you can just educate them about what the service is about, even if they are buying it from someone else. Like, as I said, I have an experience related to this. So what happened once, my husband is into the elevator industry. He puts together lifts, elevators for people, for their houses, and he provides it to them. So sometimes I even help my husband. I used to help my husband earlier. So what happened once, we went to see a client, and this client had made a decision that he is going to give the order to somebody else. So we said it's okay. And then he had a few questions, and then because we said, yeah, that's completely okay. He was okay with sharing those questions with us. And then in that case, my husband really explained the entire process of how it works and how things are going to work out for the person, what is good for the person, what is bad for the person, what the client should not go for, and everything. And although we were in a position where we knew we are not getting this order, we still provided all the information. So in that case, the client got so happy. The next day he called us up and he said, you know what, I want to give you the order. And we were so surprised because in that case, we thought we were not getting the order. So that is something that where I realized that yes, people don't want, they're not going to be convinced if you sell them. They're going to be convinced if you educate them and if you give them a reason to buy your product or service. Okay. So now let's see what we understand by copywriting. One of the first things that happens is a lot of people, when I say copywriting, they confuse it with the word copyright. So copyright, the RIGHT that comes with it, is for your legal right towards an intellectual property, a person's legal right towards an intellectual property. Okay. So in that case, that is not what we are talking about here. What we are talking about here is your copywriting, which means you're writing a copy which you're going to be using to sell, market, or advertise your products or services. And where are you going to use your copywriting in your business? You're going to use it in your hoardings, your emails, your websites. Nowadays, we have your newspapers. In fact, now we have also started using it in our Facebook ads and our Instagram ads. Correct? So that is where the hoarding or the page, the copy that you write, that is what we're going to discuss today. And I'm going to give you a few tips on how to write it better, how to create it into something that makes it work for you. Okay. Now, and why do we use copywriting? We use copywriting because one, we want to build relationships, long-term relationships with people, and two, we want to publicize the qualities of our product, our services. If it is an event, then the event of our business, in order to encourage people to buy or use or engage with our products or services. Okay. So now let's see the few secrets of copywriting. If I had to put them down into acronym, then I could call it AIDA. So let's see what this means. First thing that you have to keep in mind when you're writing a copy is you want to grab the attention of a person. No matter how much of a good copy you've written, no matter how much your product is worth it, no matter how much value you are adding or you're creating, if you cannot grab the attention, nobody is going to read it. So the first thing that you want to focus on is to grab the attention. The second thing that you want to do is to create interest. Now, once you have the attention, then what? Then they should be interested in it. So after that, you write something, you put some kind of a picture, or you basically you write something in a copy to create interest. Now, once the person has your attention, the person is interested, then what do you want to do? You want to generate a desire in the person to buy your product or service. Even if the person is just interested and then you fail to generate the desire, the product is not going to be sold. The service is not going to be purchased. Correct? So in that case, once you have the attention and you create the interest, then you want to generate the desire for your product or service to be purchased. Now, for example, let's say you've written all of these things, and then maybe you are advertising a lot of your image consultants here. So in that case, you're advertising your image consulting services. So now the person, and maybe someone is interested in your services. So they have your attention. You've created the interest. They're interested in your service. They have the desire to take your service, but then they don't know how to get your service. You've not told them what to do to get your service. Correct? So the last thing that you want to do is to ask them to take an action. Okay? If you don't tell them to call you, if you don't tell them to register, if you don't direct them to your website, if you don't direct them to your messages, or you don't give your phone number, you don't ask them to call you, then they're not going to be able to call you. No matter how desirous they are of it, they don't know how to reach you. They don't know how to buy your services. Correct? So according to me, I believe the attention and the action are the most important thing. But then again, once you have the attention, you can't reach directly to the action. So the interest and the desire are equally important. Okay. I hope all of you have noted this down. Now let's move ahead and see each of these in detail. All right. So now looking at attention, how do you grab attention? The first thing that you have to keep in mind when you're trying to grab attention is that you have to put it in your headline and your subheadline. These are your attention grabbers. If you don't have a headline and a subheadline, which is really something that attracts people, that grabs attention of people, then it's not going to work out. Okay. Second, your headline and your subheadline should reach directly to your target audience. Okay, it should send a message directly to your target audience. If you're targeting people who are not your audience, or sorry, who do not need your services, then in that case, it's no matter how good it is, they're not going to grab, they're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to create interest. They're not going to be interested in your product or service. Correct? After that, what you want to do is to state an immediate benefit. Once you have, it is reaching your target audience, then what? How do you take it to the next point? So you want to state an immediate benefit in the headline and subheadline. Okay. You want to tell them that, okay, I'm solving this problem. I'm making this right for you. I'm adding this value in your life, and which is why you need to go ahead and read my copy. Correct? So after that, what you want to do is you want to be very specific. You want to give the exact numbers. You want to give the exact whatever you want to address a problem. You want to tell them which problem you are solving for them. Because until and unless they don't feel that there is a problem, until and unless they don't feel like their life is going to, like, it's not going to move ahead if they don't, I mean, not really, literally, but then until and unless they don't feel like there is some value addition, there is some problem that you are solving, they're not going to be interested in reading more. They're not going to be interested in taking up your services or products. Correct? So there are 4 things that you need to keep in mind in case of attention. So the first one is the headline and the subheadline. That is where you're going to be able to grab your attention. It should go directly to your target audience. And third, it should state a benefit, an immediate benefit, which is going to be happening for them if they take up your product or services. Why? Because that is going to create interest. And the last one, it has to be very specific. If you are just moving round and round, it's not, people are not going to be interested. They're going to lose interest. They're going to be confused. Correct? Now moving on to, there are the templates that you can use to write your headings or subheadings. Now I have a few templates to share with you, and I will also be sharing a few examples. So let us look at the first one. Have to question them. How are you going to help them? So first one, how to identify your wow colors. If you're an image consultant, and if you ask them how to identify your wow colors, so in that case, they're going to feel that there's something in this copy which is going to help me identify my wow colors. So that's how they're going to be interested in reading more. You're going to be able to create the interest. Second, how to grow your business 10x. If you're helping people how to grow their business, ask them how to grow your business 10x. Next, how to earn 1 lakh a month from your image consulting business. So for example, tomorrow, if I start a business where I'm just guiding certified image consultants on growing their business. So then this is the question that I want to use. Correct? The next one is you give them some news. So because in the form of news, the news is so catchy. Imagine there's a newspaper and then you read an ad where the headline has a news in it, right? For example, an average human spends 50,000 a year on clothes and doesn't wear 40% of them. So maybe there's a research that has happened. And then you're writing this down. So people think, oh, an average human, I'm an average human. I spend that much amount of money probably on clothes and then I'm not wearing 40% of them. So now what? I need help. What do I do about it? Oh, let me go ahead and read it. Correct? The next one is testimonial. Use your client's testimonials. Just write down the headline as a testimonial. So for example, the course of my life took a turn after I studied with ISIM. Correct? Now this is something that people get attracted to. Why? Because they want the course of their life to take a turn. Correct? The next template which you can use is ask them to take a test. Ask them a question first. Do you need an image consultant? Take this test to find out. Now there are 2 things that you're doing here. One, because they're taking the test, they're giving you all the information. So you are generating a database of your clients. of your potential clients. And then they're taking the test, they're reading so many new things in the test. They're questioning themselves about, oh, whether I know this or not. Should I do this? Do I need this? Yes, maybe this is going to help me. Let me go ahead. Correct? So this is how a test can help. The next way that how you can do it is to ask them a question. Ask them something like, do you want to change how you make your first impression? So in this case, they already feel like, oh, I'm not really making a good first impression. And yes, I want to change it. What do I do about it now? Okay, let me read ahead. Let me go to this image consultant. Let me go to this person. Correct? And the last one is to give them a warning. Tell them, give them a warning which says something like, Mera naam Mukesh hai, main gutka khata tha. This happened to me. Don't do it. Correct? So this is also, these are a few ways how you can write your headlines and subheadlines. Now, I'm not saying these are the only ways how you can write them. And I'm not saying that this is the only thing that works, but then these are a few things which have been tried and tested. And these are a few things which really have shown results. So it would be really best instead of writing randomly something which sounds really nice but then it doesn't have a proper meaning, or it doesn't take your audience from the attention to the interest bit. It doesn't make sense. So again, these are a few things that you can use. I'm just going to quickly take you to the previous slide one more time so you can note it down quickly if you want. All right. Now moving on to the next one. Have to create interest. So maybe after reading your headlines and the subheadlines, people have already been a little interested. You have grabbed their attention. Now you want to create and maintain the interest. Now you want to take them to the next level with the interest so that they're desired to buy your services. So what are you going to do? The first thing, you're going to give them a solution to a problem. This is the number one thing that works because, again, as I mentioned earlier, people want solutions. People already have problems. If you give them a solution, they're willing to buy your services very easily. If you just tell them, you know what, take my services, they're not going to be interested. If you tell them, if you take my service, or even if you don't say if you take my services, just tell them that I understand that this is your problem and I'm going to solve it in this way. So I'm going to give you an example of that. You are a victim of impulse buying who has a wardrobe full of clothes but nothing to wear. I will build combinations of complete outfits and take the decision-making process out of your morning routine. So now, in the question here, I'm addressing that you are a victim of impulse buying. So this person is relating there. The person has a wardrobe full of clothes. So he's relating there. The person doesn't have anything to wear. So he's relating there also. And then you're telling them that, oh, I'm going to build a combination for you of complete outfits. So here you are giving them a solution, correct? And then you're also telling them that I'm going to take away the decision-making process out of your routine, correct? So in this case, what happens is that there is another problem that they're relating with. That yes, I wake up in the morning and oh, I am so messed up. I waste so much time in the morning just deciding what to wear. Is that going to go away? Wow, that sounds amazing. Let me go to this person, correct? So give them a solution to your problem, okay? Now moving on to the next one, which is use credentials. Whatever credentials you have, whatever it is that you have studied, whatever it is that is your experience, use it. The number of people that you have worked with, the success ratio that you have, everything, use it. Why? Because then they feel that, okay, this person is so knowledgeable, this person has worked so much, has so much experience. I'm sure he is going to be able to help me. I'm sure she has something in her mind. I'm sure with so much experience, she has learned a lot of things, correct? So how do we use it? If I am writing this for my client, I'll say something like, I come from a purely financial background with 3+ years of experience. After which, I got a dual certification from a national and international institute to practice as an image consultant and change the lives of others. So this is where I'm talking about what are my credentials. Now I'm talking about in this field, what is my experience? So I say, in the last 2 years, I have worked with 50+ image consultants, 50+ clients, including musicians, chefs, comedians, and food bloggers to create a difference in their lives. Now, why I'm writing 50 plus? Because I want to give the number. I want them to feel that yes, this person has worked with a lot of people. And second, I'm writing down whom I have worked with. Why? Because again, here I want them to feel that I work with a lot of different kind of people. And my business is very inclusive. So no matter where they come from, no matter what they are doing, I'm still going to be able to help them. Correct? So these are a few ways. Again, if you have some other business, if you're into some other industry at all, you can definitely write it in your own way. You can use your credentials. You can use something that works for your target audience. Correct? The next thing that we can do to create interest is to tell stories. Why? Because your facts are just going to tell. If you say something that, okay, there's this and there's that, and I've done this and I've done that, okay, it is something that the person will still, the person will the person will get respect for you. They'll feel that, yes, this person is trustworthy. But then if you tell a story, in that case, the person is going to be able to relate to you. There's going to be a connection that you're forming. Correct? So there's going to be something where the person feels, oh, she's just like me. She's just learned a few more things. Those are the things that she's going to explain to me. Those are the things which are going to help me. But she's approachable. When you tell a story, you open yourself up. And by opening yourself up, you make yourself approachable. And that is when people get the confidence to come and talk to you, to approach you. Correct? So another example for that is, I put my foot front in image consulting because I have lived through a difficult phase of self-doubt, sabotage, anxiety, denial, and inauthenticity. I know how you feel. Now I'm telling my client that if you feel any of these things, I know how you feel. And I want to help you feel better. And I want to create a difference in how you're perceived, not just in the minds of other people, but in your own mind. So this is where the client is going to feel, okay, she's also been through this. Maybe she also doubted herself at some point of time. This is where I feel that, yes, okay, the client feels that, yes, okay, she's just someone who I can easily talk to. Let me go and approach her. Maybe because she's been through this, she's going to be able to help me out. Correct? Again, you write this on the basis of your target audience. What is your target audience looking for? And then again, to make this very clear, you use any of these things, or you use maybe all of these things, or you use a combination of a couple of things. Correct? You use what works for you. These are just the different techniques that I'm giving you. All right. Again, you can just note it down. To create interest, you are right. You're giving them a solution for their problems, and you're using credentials, and you are telling them stories. Okay. Now, since we have created the interest, now we are moving ahead to the next point where we are generating the desire, where the client feels that, oh, I really need this thing in my life. This service is going to make a difference in my life. This is what I've always been looking for. Okay. So in that case, how you generate desire is, first, you turn your feature into a benefit. What is so good about that? What is so good about your product that makes it a benefit, that makes the client want to have it? What is so good about your service that it is so desirable for your client? Now, how you do this? A very good example of this is Apple. So Apple's iPhone has a dual HD camera. How many of us know this? Maybe we only know this because we've heard it somewhere. Some people talk about it, or maybe we've read it on the box or somewhere. What advertisements do we see of the Apple's camera? We see large hoardings put all over the city of just the photographs taken on the camera. Why? Because here the feature is the camera, which they're turning into benefit. That, oh, look at the kind of pictures that your phone can click with the kind of a camera that we have. They're saying no words. They're not using, I have not seen the iPhone dual HD camera written somewhere on a hoarding, on an advertisement. Why? Because they don't need to. The benefit of the feature is so good, it's so nice and appealing that they don't have to talk about the feature. They only have to show the benefit, right? So similarly, in your service or in your product, find out what is the feature and then find out what is the benefit of the feature. Advertise your benefit. All right. The next thing that you can do to generate desire is to be specific. Build trust and confidence. Answer questions. Okay. So how do you do this? You say, for example, you have an image institute, School of Image Management. So in that case, you will say, become an image consultant in 3 months. In this case, you're not going to be saying something like, become an image consultant in a few months. Why? Because I don't know, the client doesn't know. I mean, I'm just going to, few months for me, it's 6 months. For you, it's 2 months. For somebody else, it's 12 months. For someone, it's maybe 24 months. Correct? So in this case, you have to be very specific. And by being specific, you are building your trust, you're building the confidence. Correct? You are answering questions. You're telling them that, okay, you want to become an image consultant. It is, how long is it going to take? So you're saying it's going to take 3 months. Okay. Now, in this case, if you cannot tell the exact number, if you cannot tell the exact, you can't be specific about something, don't mention anything at all. Don't say that you become an image consultant in a few months. Don't say anything at all. Just say, become an image consultant with us. All right. The next thing that you can use is you can build massive value. Build such a big value for your product that it becomes impossible for the client to not be desired to buy it. For your service, make it so big that they feel, okay, this thing I'm going to get only here. This product I'm not going to get anywhere else. This service is the best just here. Right? To give you a very good example of this, just how ISIM is the only institute in India right now to give us an international, offer a course which is accredited by the AICI, right? The Association of Image Consultants International. So that is their massive value. They're offering us a course, correct? So build something like that. Think about your business. Think about your product and your service. What is the massive value that you are creating, and how can you use it? And how can you tell it to your clients? Okay. The next thing about desire that you want to do is you want to appeal to emotion. Now, a lot of people have a lot of different emotions. All your clients are going to be having different emotions. Appeal to them. Use that emotion to convert that potential client into a client. Okay. Few of the emotions that we can think of are, first, profit. Everyone wants to make profit. Everyone is into a business because they want to make profit, correct? So tell them, discover how our students are making more money by an intense study of the Business Smart program. Okay? So in this case, you're attracting more people. You're telling them that this is how people are going to be making more profit. If you take my service, if you buy my product, you're also going to be able to make more profit. The next emotion that you can appeal to is pride. A lot of people, even now, are going to get attracted to you because of this. Why? How? So you will feel like $1 million by wearing your wow colors. People want to feel that way. A lot of people, especially for image consultants, a lot of our clients are coming to us because they don't feel confident, because they don't feel like they are good enough, because they don't feel that they're making a difference. They want to feel like $1 million. So in that case, when you tell them that if you wear your wow colors, if you take my services, you're going to feel like $1 million, correct? So they will generate the desire in them to take your service. The next one that you can do is pleasure. The next emotion that you can appeal to is pleasure. Tell them, from the second you press the start button, your heart will pound with pleasure. Now, this is a very good example that you can use for a car company, an automobile company, correct? When they are trying to sell a car, they will tell you that how pleasurable you will feel when you press the start button, when you start driving the car, correct? Give them the emotion, give them the feeling of how much pleasurable it is going to be when they buy your services, when they take up your product. Okay. The next emotion that you can appeal to is desire for approval. Again, this is also something that a lot of our clients have. Okay. How can you use it? Imagine the look on their face when they see you driving your brand new car. This is something which is used a lot of times, and we see it in a lot of advertisements also on the TV, in the newspapers, and everywhere. Okay. The next one is pain. Now, for example, you are a dietitian and you are giving them a diet which is really working out for them, which is making them feel energetic. They are feeling like they want to do everything. They want to achieve everything. So in that case, you tell them, you don't have to wake up tired every day. I'm here for you. I'm going to make the best diet plan for you. Correct. Now, a lot of people wake up tired every day. They don't want to feel that way. They want to feel more energetic. If you're giving them a solution, so in this way, you're also giving them a solution to a problem, and you are telling them that, you know what, I'm there for you. I'm going to be doing it for you. And that's how you're going to generate the desire. The next one that you're going to do is fear. The next emotion that you're going to appeal to is fear. Because if people feel afraid, like remember the warning in the heading and the subheadings that we spoke about, when people feel afraid, when you give them a warning, they want to save themselves. They want to make sure that they are in a safe place. They want to make sure they've taken all the efforts to make sure to be in the safe place. Correct? So tell them, unfortunately, if you are someone who's giving financing services, so tell them, unfortunately, he didn't take my advice and ended up going bankrupt in 3 months. I would hate for the same thing to happen to you. Correct? So here you are again building a connection with your client. You are giving them a warning. You are inserting fear. Now the person is afraid that my business is already sinking. I need financing services. If I don't go to her, I'm not going to be able to save my services. And because you're building a connection here, when people are feeling afraid and you build a connection, you are the first person that they're going to get attracted to. You're the first person that they want to come to. Okay? I hope you have noted this down. I'm just going to wait for a few seconds. All right. Moving on. Also, it's not that easy, like how it might be appearing or sounding right now. You're going to face objections. People are going to say, oh, but I don't have the money. I don't know if I should do this. What if it doesn't work out for me? So in that case, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to handle such objections. The first one is again, I don't have the time. I don't have the money for it, and I'm not interested in it. Okay, they're going to say it. Don't ignore it. Address it. If it is something that you're not going to be able to fix, then feature it. Make it into something that, okay, I know it is expensive, but it is expensive because of these reasons. So for example, it will cost you exactly equal to the value I add in your life and less than the money you spend on wrong clothes. Okay. So in this case, what you're doing is, first you are telling them that yes, maybe I'm charging a little more. Maybe you feel like I'm charging a little more, but it is equal to the value I'm going to add. The work that I'm going to do, the experience and the learning that I already have is going to be equal to the amount of money that I'm charging for you. And then you are telling them that it is going to be less than the money that you will spend on wrong clothes. So again, there's a little bit of a fear that you are adding here. Correct? The next objection or the next way to face an objection is to give them a special offer. But don't just give them a special offer. Give them a reason of why you're giving them that offer. So how do you do that? You tell them, because you scored so high on the test, we would like to give you a special offer. So remember the test, the headline or the subheadline template that we saw? And then we saw that there was this one option where you could give them a test. So ask them, do you need an image consultant? Take this test. Once they've taken the test, they have some score. Now what you do is you tell them, oh, okay, you scored really well. I think you scored this much. I think you really need me. Right now, maybe I can't really, okay, I'll still have to think about what I can do for you. And then go back to them and tell them, I'm just creating an offer because I understand that you need me. And because you scored such marks on the test, I realize that you will value it. I realize that it is important for you. That's why I'm going to give you this special offer. If you just randomly give a special offer to someone, then the person is going to feel that, okay, this person is just cheating me. This person doesn't really, the services are just worth the less amount of money, but they've just hiked it up. Okay, so give them a reason of why you're giving them a good offer. The next way to do it is to create a limitation. Create a limitation in terms of time, in terms of quantity. Tell them it is a limited edition. Tell them there are limited number of seats. There are limited people that you can accommodate. Okay. So give them, so for an example, you can see that the offer is only valid if you buy it by the end of this week. If you don't take my services by the end of this week, then the offer is going to be this much. You tell them that I have limited quantities for the next batch. For the next, there are only limited quantities that I have. I cannot give you all of this. If someone else comes to me for it, I'll have to sell it to the other person. So you buy it as soon as you can. Tell them, I offer this service only once a year. If you want to take it right now, you should take it, or then otherwise you're going to have to wait for another year. Okay. So in this case, again, there is fear, there is urgency, and the person thinks that, okay, if I don't do it right now, I'm going to lose it. I need to do it right now and now. And that's how you can convince the person to take up your services. Okay. Moving on to a few more ways of featuring your objections. Value your price. Explain to them why you are so high priced if they feel that you are high priced. Explain to them why your products or services are worth it. Okay, how you can do it? I may be charging a little higher than my competitors, but not only am I using the best machine. So for example, this is something that I could have used in the lift business that my husband is, where we tell our clients that, yeah, maybe you feel that I'm charging a little bit more here, but what I'm doing is I'm using the best machines. I have an inspector who will be checking the installation all over. And then for a long time, you won't have a lot of maintenance issues. You're going to have a maintenance free service. So you're going to be saving money there. Correct? So maybe we are charging a high price there, but then we are justifying it. We are telling them why the price is high. What more value are we adding in their life? All right. The next thing that we can do is to give bonus. Let's see the example of this. I can't work on the price here, but I can give you a discount, 20% discount on your next purchase. So this is something where you're grabbing them for the one purchase that you have. Tell them that, you know what, I already have a lot of demand for this. So right now, if I give you a discount, I'm going to be in loss. But then if you come on board with me right now, maybe on the next purchase or on the next service that you take with me, I'm going to give you a 20% discount. Okay, so in this case, the person is going to purchase from you twice. And the person is still attracted to taking up your services and taking up your products, buying your products. Why? Because they're going to get a discount. Correct? So this is another way. Another way that you can face objections is to reverse the risk. Tell them, okay, if you don't like it, I'm going to give your money back. Now, how you have to do this? You can't tell them that, okay, at any point, if you feel that you don't like my services, I'm going to give your money back, because then they're going to finish the course, they're going to finish the services, they're going to buy and use your product and come back with an empty box and say that, you know what, I didn't like it. So that's not how you do it. How you do it? You tell them that you come to me for the first session of my services. You use the product once, or you just take the trial of the product. And then if you don't like it, you come back to me. I give you the service. I give you the money back. Okay. So an example for this is, I offer you 100% cash back offer in the first session if you don't feel like my services are worth the money. All right. So these are a few ways of how you can handle objections, because believe me, no matter how much you try to make it perfect, there is some way or another, because again, we are dealing with humans here. We are dealing with human emotions here. So people are going to question you. People are going to tell you that, okay, this is not something that I can take right now. How are you going to convince them? By using all these ways. Again, I'm going to give you a few seconds to just copy the stuff. All right. So now we grabbed the attention of people. We generated the interest. We created the interest. We generated the desire. And now we have also dealt with the objections. Now what? Now what are you going to do? Now is the time when you ask them to take an action. Oh, sorry, there are a couple of more objections. So a few other objections that you can use is, one, use testimonials. Write something, tell them something that other clients have felt. So the one is, services from Caterpillar Image Consulting were the only boost I needed in my life. By reading this, they will feel more connected to you. They will feel that, okay, someone else benefited from here. Maybe even I'm going to benefit from here. That's how they're going to be able to convince themselves to take up your service. The next one is to give payment options. Now, again, you have to be very critical here. You have to explain to them that this is not something that you're going to do over and over again. And this is not something that a lot of people, I mean, you do it with a lot of people. This is just something that you're doing with them. So you say something like this: I'm not usually open for this, but for you only, I would like to make a payment option because I understand your situation and I would like to help you. All right. So again, you're building a connection here, and this is not also something that you're doing with each and every client. Otherwise, they're going to talk amongst themselves and everyone's going to know, and then your reputation is at stake. You're only doing it when the person feels that I don't have the money right now. I can't help it. I need help from your end. Okay. And a lot of people are going to say this. You're going to have to identify which clients you can give this offer to and which clients you can't give this offer. All right. So now moving on to the action. Now, in terms of action, there are a few things, a call to action that you are asking them to take. There are a few things that you have to keep in mind. One, you have to be very, very specific and directive. You're going to tell them. The first most important thing is to tell them. And the second most important thing is to tell them what to do. In fact, I think both of them are really important. Because if you don't, I mean, yeah, it's telling them first. So because you don't tell them, they're not going to do anything. It's the entire process is a complete waste. And then if you if you don't tell them specifically what to do, if you don't tell them whether to call you, whether to go to your website, whether to mail you, whether to register, whether to give their details, whether to fill up a form, then how are they going to know what to do? Okay. So be very, very directive and specific about your call to action. So for example, call or buy now to grab the best offer or join the next batch. All right. So this is how you do it. Another way, another thing that you have, something that really works and something that has really worked for me personally is write a postscript. Write a postscript which makes it and write it in such a way that it makes it irresistible for the client to not take action. Okay. So what recently happened once with me, I met with a potential client. I did the entire first meeting. And then when I sent her a proposal, in the end, I wrote a postscript. I have copied the exact thing here. I want you to read it. So it says, postscript, I love how well we've connected through the last few days, and it amazes me how well our thoughts align. I'm really excited to start working with you. So what this does is, and actually what happened is when I actually met with this client and I was having conversations, we were relating on so many things. We had so many topics apart from our work also that we were discussing when we met for a couple of times before I sent her the proposal. So in that case, she knows that we connected really well. She knows that there is the bond that I'm talking about, which is actually there. I'm not just randomly writing it. And she knows that, yes, because I connected so well with her, maybe I'm going to be able to work really well with her. So in that case, and when I say that I'm really excited to start working with you, in her mind, she's already started thinking about how I'm going to work with her, about maybe a time when I'm working with her, right? So in her mind, I've already convinced her to take up my services, correct? So that's how you write your call to action. That's how you write down, that's how you write down the entire copy. First, you grab the attention, then you create the interest in your client, then you generate the desire for the client to buy your product. If the client has any objections, you address those objections. You don't not talk about it. You don't ignore it. You talk about it. You address it. You feature it most of the time. Okay. And then you ask them what action to take. I hope you had a good time, and I hope all of you really got something out of this. I hope all of you all are safe, and I am open for questions now.
Wow, Rooja, thanks for that really informative session.
Thank you.
I was watching the comments during your presentation and I was looking at them, and I think quite a few of them are loving the presentation, but especially few of them are actually asking that, can we just hire you for writing content for us? So I think that is the best compliment you could get for this session.
Yes, definitely. But then I can do it if I get the time. So I'm working with the things that I'm already working with.
Yeah. So knowing Rooja right now, I think so you're probably juggling 7 to 10 balls on a daily basis, even working from All right. So Rooja, before we really get into the audience Q&A, I thought I'll take this opportunity to ask a few of my own questions.
Yeah, sure.
For a lot of you who do not know, Rooja is also an alumni of ISIM. So after her course got finished, she did spend a lot of time sitting one-on-one with me and Sonia in her coaching and mentoring sessions and asking me and Sonia a billion questions. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to turn the tables and ask a bunch of questions to you this time.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So to begin with, Rooja, I thought if you could just elaborate a little bit more. I know you work with a couple of clients which are especially, I think one of them is a comedian who was in Comicstan. Some of your clients are also your very famous authors, bestsellers in India. So these
Yeah.
are very creative people. When working as an image consultant with such creative people, how do you really change your pitch? Because even your copywriting and content writing could be in proposals, marketing material, anything else. So how do you really approach that aspect?
So every time that I'm talking, like how I gave the example of writing the postscript,
Yeah.
correct? So similarly, if I'm writing any emails, if I'm writing anything, like even if I'm just sending a message, like a lot of students uh, from our institute, they must have seen me sending them messages on the group every now and then, right? So that is how I usually do it. I frame it in such a way that I'm catching up from a few principles from here, and I'm putting it in such a way that it doesn't appear like it is scripted. It appears like they can relate to it, and at the same time, it is also solving the purpose.
All
Correct.
right.
So that is how I do it. Even with my clients, most of the time, I mean, yeah, always when I'm writing to them, I always make sure that I'm using all of these principles in some way or another.
Nice. Okay, that's perfect. If also you can just elaborate a little bit more about what is the way that you really research your target audience, or how do you really understand your target audience before you really start approaching the content or the copywriting aspect
Okay. So again, this is something which is very subjective. This is something that totally depends on what your product is or what your service is, right? And even if, for example, for us image consultants, if you're an image consultant and if you are targeting an audience, so for you and for me, it is going to be a completely different target audience. Why? Because the kind of services that I'm willing to give, and the kind of services that you are willing to give are completely different. So again, I have another a really good template that I've created to identify your target audience. Maybe I can share it on some other day, and I can do another presentation on it.
yeah,
Okay.
wonderful. I
So,
think
but yeah,
a lot of people will be excited about that one.
but yeah, I think most of it totally depends on the kind of product you have or the kind of service you have and whom you want to cater to, right? So even if, for example, as an image consultant, if I want to cater to someone for bridal shopping, in that case also, whether I want my job to be like really good and I want to collaborate with event managers in that case, event companies. So that is something that I would do. Or if I just want it to be a very personalized, not very professional, and I'm just collaborating with people who are just getting married. So then both of my target audience are different.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah.
Right. Got it.
I hope that makes it clear for you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone else.
I think everyone's got a little bit more understood about that aspect. So another question before I'm asking a bunch of questions. So just to remind everyone, if you have a few questions, you can put them in the comment stream and I will get to them. I think there are already a few questions that have come up. So I will push them to Rooja in a minute. Okay, Rooja, the last question that I had from my side was when you're looking at content writing or copywriting, especially I find a lot of people find it difficult to write long format content. So
Correct.
stuff like books or stuff like let's say long articles, reports, brochures. Everyone's quite comfortable or relatively comfortable, I think, writing short social media content. So is there a different approach that you look at when you're looking at, because you are an assistant editor of AICI Global Magazine, so I'm pretty sure the editorial aspect also is a big thing that you work on.
Yeah.
So how do you really approach that? Is there a different approach towards long content that you would recommend everyone?
Yeah. So there's definitely a very different approach that when it comes to like writing a book or writing an essay or writing a report, because then you're not using the same format. Then your purpose of writing it is absolutely different. Correct? Here, your purpose of writing it is to sell, market, to advertise. Whereas there, it is to maybe share a story, to write a report on something or a research paper on something, right? Or write an article on something. There, it is more informative. The purpose is more informative. So there, the format that you can use or the template, maybe if I can say that you can use is absolutely different. Okay. So yes, these are completely different things. You have to look at it in a completely different manner. And the way that you do it or the way that you script it is also very different.
Okay, and any tools that you would want to recommend everyone that they can start using to improve their content or copywriting skills?
I think copywriting tools, I shared a few of them today, so they can use that. for content writing, Grammarly is the guru, the god. So
Yes,
everyone can
we all
start
use.
using Grammarly. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to now come back to a few questions that we've got on Facebook. Let's go to the first one. One of the first questions that we got was from Nidhi, your past batchmate. She has asked about how about for beginners, if you can give a few tips or some suggestions on how to start with content writing or copywriting.
Okay. So again, the question is whether we are talking about content writing or copywriting. So if you're talking about content writing, then in that case, it is more like a blog or a post that you are writing, more like a blog post that you're sharing, even on social media if you're sharing. Now that is something which again, so yes, I have templates for that also. But then, yeah, that is something that we do. How we do it, we figure out a method of writing it, and then we write it in that flow. Okay. So, for example, you're writing something on different body types. So in that way, you are bifurcating the different body types. You're explaining different body types. Maybe you're explaining what kind of styles work for these body types. So maybe you can start topic by topic. If we are talking about just copy, then yes, the number one thing to do is to figure out your target audience. And the number two thing to do is to figure out where you're going to be using all of those things, where you're going to be advertising yourself, right? And then that's how you start using all these templates.
Wonderful. Okay, I think that would give a lot of pointers to Nidhi. Okay, the next question is from Reena. The question is how to drive people by writing if you want to make a sale or generate a lead on Quora. I face difficulties while writing to people on Quora. So the Quora platform, she wants to understand how to really approach answering some of the questions there.
Okay. So again, there it is more like a content related job work that you're talking about. But then again, if you are using it to maybe sell your services or sell your products, then I suggest that that is not really a good way to go about with it. I mean, it's not really a credible way to do it. So if it is just a content thing, then maybe you can just go around answering the question in one by one in a proper format. That, okay, this is your question, I'm addressing it, this is how you can solve it. Maybe if you want to suggest a few products or a few services or a few links, you can attach it to them. But then Quora shouldn't be your source of trying to sell your services.
Okay.
That's not a place to do it.
Good point. I think answering the question, as you mentioned, is the core there than trying to sell over there. All right,
Yes,
great answer. Next question comes from Sonia. Can you give us a few pointers to keep in mind while writing copy in the current times? So the current times of COVID-19 and the crisis that we're all going through.
Right.
Any suggestions that you'd want to give us while looking at content writing or copywriting?
Right. So I think right now so I live in a joint family, and we are like 25 of us or 23 of us stuck in the house together. And not all of us are fortunate enough to work from home. So a lot of them right now, what they're doing is they're creating TikTok. Okay. Why? Because they're bored. So the number one problem that I'm seeing with everyone is that they're bored. So at this point, solve that problem. Give them something to do. I mean, there's one thing that I'm doing on Instagram right now. I'm sharing one task of kindness that how people can be kind to themselves. Why? Because yes, people don't have anything to do. People are lost right now.
Right.
Correct. So that is not something that I'm selling, but that is just how I am helping people, because that's what I want to do. Right. So give a solution to people. Solve a problem. And the problem currently right now is one, they're bored, they're afraid. Again, the way that we are doing this, we are giving them more and more information. The last 3 sessions that we saw about law of attraction and the vibe and Sonia's session, all of those were like really good for the mental health, right? So I think, Sonia, in a way, we are already doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I think we all have to be conscious of how to engage with people in this current times. And yeah, address, again, it's the same thing, understanding your target audience. What do they need? Reena had a question again as a follow-up saying, target audience, how do you identify them? I think you partially addressed that. Do you want to add anything into that additionally?
I think it's just this and then my template. You can hire me for that.
Yeah, but you have to be free and
Okay,
available.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But then,
All
yeah,
right.
it's even my template has only these things, that what services you're providing, what demographic you're looking at. I think all of this, if you're an image consultant and you're working with ISIM, I mean, you're studying with ISIM, you're going to go through all of this in your business edge program also,
Well,
once you're done with your course.
once you're done with the course, perfect. All right, so I think we've got a lot of awesomes. Thank you, awesomes. That's all I can see right now. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Superb
Thank you, everyone.
session. And Rooja, I think you can just simply go back after this call is over and interact with all these everyone who's on the call today.
Yeah, sure.
I want to take this opportunity to really thank you, Rooja, for taking out time. I know during this time everyone's quite busy with their own things, but it says a lot when we take out our time and share it with the community, share it with the tribe, try to learn something new out of this entire experience. So thanks, Rooja, for taking out time. And
thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Always there. So if you have any other questions for Rooja, or if you want to interact even further with her, drop in a message on this video in the comment stream, and Rooja will most likely be easily able to reply back to you. If you want to get in touch with Rooja also, you can just go to her website, Caterpillar Image Consulting. Rooja, am I saying it correct?
Yeah, it's called caterpillaric.com.
Okay, it's caterpillaric.com. So if you want to reach out to her, talk to her, discuss anything, please do go ahead and do that. Again, thank you, Rooja, so much. And thank you, everyone, for taking our time to come for this session. Tomorrow,
yes, thanks, everyone.
Tomorrow, we have a different kind of a session. It's going to be a special panel discussion. It's not going to be a presentation. So we have two celebrity stylists, Yuti Malhotra as well as Ocean Helder, both of them who are also image consultants and alumni of ISIM, who will be going into a panel discussion with Sonia tomorrow at 7:30 to discuss the life of a celebrity stylist. Both of these professionals are working as celebrity stylists. We're going to try to understand a little bit from them what it takes to become a celebrity stylist, how do they really go about their days on a day-to-day basis, and even demystifying some of the myths or myth busting some of the things in tomorrow's session. So do stay tuned for this tomorrow at 7:30 on Facebook of ISIM. And again, thank you, Rooja, and thank you everyone for coming for this session.